They put an innocent man on death row, not because they were evil, but because the system never stopped to ask if it was wrong. Before we begin, please like and subscribe if you enjoy the video. It really helps small creators like me. Stay till the end for a massive plot twist. In 1935, there was a place where time moved differently. A place where every step mattered more than the one before it. They called it the Green Mile, not because it was peaceful, not because it was hopeful, but because it was the last stretch a man ever walked. Paul Edgecombe was responsible for that walk. He wasn't a cruel man. He wasn't a kind man either. He was something far more dangerous. He was a man who followed rules. Paul oversaw death row at Cold Mountain Penitentiary along with a small team of guards who understood one simple truth: order mattered more than feelings. Brutus Howell, Dean Stanton, and Harry Terwilliger were steady men. They believed that if they did their jobs correctly, the system would take care of the rest. And then there was Percy Wetmore. Percy didn't believe in order. He believed in power. Protected by family connections to the governor, Percy lived without consequences. His cruelty wasn't hidden. It was tolerated. That tolerance slowly poisoned everything around him. On the Green Mile, there were 3 prisoners waiting to die: Edouard Delacroix, William Morton, and John Coffey. Delacroix was small and frightened, clinging to whatever scraps of dignity he could find. Percy took pleasure in destroying those scraps, one by one. William Morton was violent and unstable, the kind of man whose presence alone made the guards uneasy. But John Coffey didn't fit. He was enormous, towering, yet gentle in a way that felt almost impossible for someone condemned to death. His voice was soft. His eyes carried fear, not malice. He was convicted of a crime that horrified everyone: the rape and murder of 2 young white girls. When he was found, he wasn't running. He wasn't hiding. He was holding their bodies, crying, repeating the same words over and over. They tried to take it back. Paul noticed things others ignored. John was afraid of the dark, afraid of being alone, afraid of pain. This wasn't the behavior of someone who enjoyed violence. And slowly, quietly, doubt began to grow. At the same time, Paul was fighting his own private battle. A severe bladder infection left him in constant pain. Every step burned. Every night was sleepless. It was humiliating, and in a place like the Green Mile, weakness was something you hid. One night, John asked to touch him. Paul hesitated, then allowed it. What happened next didn't feel like a miracle. It felt like an exchange. The pain left Paul's body and entered John's. John convulsed, coughing violently, until he expelled a swarm of flies from his mouth. Only then did the pain stop. John explained it simply. He took it back. This moment reframed everything. Healing in this world wasn't a blessing. It was a burden. Pain didn't disappear. It moved. Percy's cruelty escalated after that. Delacroix had found comfort in a small mouse he trained, Mr. Jingles. The mouse gave him something to care about, something that made the days shorter. Percy noticed and destroyed it. Without hesitation, he crushed the mouse under his boot. The reaction wasn't just Del's scream. John screamed too. John begged for the mouse's body, held it gently, and once again transferred pain. Mr. Jingles came back to life. The guards could no longer deny what they were witnessing. John Coffey wasn't dangerous. He was extraordinary. But extraordinary things are inconvenient to systems built on certainty. The guard struck a deal with Percy. He could officiate Del's execution. After that, he would leave the mile forever and take a job at Briar Ridge Insane Asylum. Percy agreed, smiling. During the execution, Percy made a choice. He deliberately did not wet the sponge. The electricity burned Del alive. The screams echoed. The guard froze. The system worked exactly as designed. And that was the problem. John felt every second of it. The pain overwhelmed him. Something transferred again. Something changed. Paul knew then that pretending neutrality was no longer possible. When the warden's wife, Melinda, became terminally ill, Paul made a decision that crossed every line he had ever respected. He convinced the guards to sneak John out of prison to heal her. Percy was locked in a padded cell. John healed Melinda, but the pain nearly destroyed him. They brought John back, released Percy, and then everything collapsed. John transferred the pain into Percy. Percy, possessed by something he couldn't control, killed William Morton. Only then did the truth surface. John showed Paul Wharton's memories. The real crime. The real killer. John was innocent, but innocence arrived too late, and the system had no place for it. The truth changes nothing. That is the hardest part. Paul Edgecombe now knows, without any doubt, that John Coffey is innocent. He knows who the real killer was. He knows why John was found holding those two little girls. He knows that John was trying to bring them back. And yet, nothing stops. The paperwork is already done. The execution date is already set. The system does not pause for revelations that arrive too late. Percy Wetmore is removed from the Green Mile, but not because of justice. He is taken away because he is broken, silent, empty, committed to Briar Ridge, where he will spend the rest of his life staring at walls he cannot understand. It feels like balance, but it isn't, because John Coffey is still there, still waiting, still walking the Green Mile. Paul is haunted by the knowledge that doing his job now means participating in something unforgivable. For the first time, obedience feels like a crime. Every rule he once trusted feels hollow. So Paul does something that terrifies him. He offers John a way out. Not officially, not legally, but honestly. He tells John that they can help him escape, that they can disappear him into the world, that destroying a miracle feels wrong, that maybe, just maybe, this is one time the system should be ignored. John listens, quietly, patiently, and then he refuses, not out of fear, not out of guilt, but out of exhaustion. John explains that his gift is not a blessing. Everywhere he goes, he feels pain. He feels cruelty. He feels people hurting each other in ways they don't even notice. The world is loud with suffering, and he cannot turn it off. Living like this hurts all the time. John is tired, more tired than anyone Paul has ever met. So he chooses to die, not because he deserves it, but because he cannot carry the world any longer. There is nothing Paul can say to that. John makes one final request. He wants to watch a movie. He has never seen one before. The guards agree. They bring in a projector. They sit together in that small room and watch Top Hat. Fred Astaire dances. Music fills the space. For a brief moment, the Green Mile doesn't feel so heavy. John smiles, and that smile hurts more than anything else. When morning comes, there is no delaying it. John tells the guards about a dream he had. In it, he and the two girls are together. Safe, happy, no pain, no fear, no darkness. As he walks toward the chair, John can feel the hatred in the room, from the people watching, from those who still believe he is guilty. It presses down on him, heavy and sharp. Brutus tells him to focus on them instead, on the guards. They do not hate him. They never did. John asks not to wear the hood. He is afraid of the dark. Paul steps forward and takes John's hand, just for a moment, long enough to say everything without words. The switch is thrown, and the miracle is gone. Years pass. Decades pass. The world changes. Paul Edgecombe does not. In 1999, Paul is 108 years old, still walking, still remembering, still alive long after everyone he loved is gone. He watches Top Hat again, the same music, the same dance, and everything comes back. He tells the story to his friend Elaine. All of it. The Green Mile, John Coffey, the execution, the truth. Elaine is stunned when Paul reveals that Mr. Jingles is still alive. The mouse never died. His life was extended unnaturally. Elaine calls Paul's long life a miracle. Paul does not agree. He believes it is punishment, a life stretched out as a reminder, a consequence of allowing an innocent man to die when he knew better. After Elaine dies, Paul is left alone once more, thinking, wondering, if a mouse's life could be extended that much, how much longer will his be? He looks back on the Green Mile, on that long walk, and finally understands what it really was. Not a hallway, not a prison, but a lifetime. And sometimes it feels unbearably long. Thanks for watching. Please consider liking the video and subscribing if you enjoyed the content.